Hey everyone, welcome to the show today, my so-called fabulous. I'm Tiffany, and y'all, I have to just explain a little bit here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this guest, and I've had several guests on this show that I meet through social media that's in the same age bracket, and we just connect. And this woman, let me tell you what, I fell in love with her years ago. She's the best-selling author, podcast host, so she gets this whole podcast thing, influencer, fearless truth teller. Oh my gosh, you're in for a good one. Sandra Silverman. After surviving a toxic marriage, multiple makeovers, and a complete reboot of her life, she emerged looking younger, fresher, and with a newfound sense of freedom. Today, she encourages women like you listening everywhere across the globe to find beauty and truth, resilience in heartbreak, we've all had them, and joy in starting over. No filters required. And I stole that from your website. We're diving into things like aging, beauty, Botox, peptides. Cannot wait to share that. Confidence and evolving definition of self-care. If you've ever wondered how to embrace this season of life while you're still looking and feeling your best, you're in for a candid and inspiring conversation. Sandra, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you. You know, we were talking before because we had not met face to face, and that happens with a lot of my podcast guests that we met on social media. And people are like, I can't believe it. That's creepy. It's actually not. You meet and support one another 100%, right?
Oh, I think it's great to have a community and have the support on social media. For me, has been a game changer. So I think it's great.
Because honestly, at this stage of our lives, and we've gone through a lot of, we're going to talk about it in a minute. We're connecting, and we're not pushing each other down. We're actually building each other up. Do you find that a lot?
Yes,
right?
I find that a lot.
So I have to tell you this. When I saw your title, y'all hear this, from bullshit to Botox. I just laughed out loud. I went, I have to just follow this girl and see what she's talking about. And you and I chatted about it every time. But for the listeners that are meeting you for the first time, tell us about Sandra Silverman.
The journey started in my late 20s. That was my first procedure. And the journey started in a way that was probably not the most conventional. So at that point, I was with my ex. We're now getting divorced. We just started dating, and he made a comment to me one day. He just looked at me a month into the relationship and said, "Oh, your body's soft. You should go to the gym." Well, that's the first time that anyone's ever really insulted me.
What?
And that's the first time in my life that I thought, wow, there must be something wrong with me. Like, I never really experienced that before. So as the days went on, he would always talk about this ex that he dated who had a perfect body and perfect size D implants. And so subconsciously, I'm hearing these things. So, of course, I start going to the gym. And I don't think there's anything wrong, because at that point, I really didn't know what narcissism was or the red flags. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go to the gym and do some enhancements. So the first procedure was breast augmentation at age 27. Had I not met him, I'm not sure I would even have gone down this path, but I did. And then once I started, of course, I didn't stop with procedures. Rhinoplasty was next, and then had my son when I was 32 and gained a lot of weight. So at that point, I was probably like 60 pounds overweight just from the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And he called himself a whale watcher. So during my pregnancy, he couldn't stand that I'd gained weight. Could not stand it. Thought it was like the worst thing in the world. It was a slap in his face. And for anybody that understands narcissism, which at that point I didn't, so I didn't know what was going on. From there, I did body sculpting. So it just went on and on. So for your listeners, in the beginning, I was definitely doing these procedures for the wrong reason. So I went down this whole journey. The first part of my book is all about the external work, but I didn't love myself. So if I loved myself, A, I wouldn't have stayed in a relationship like this, and B, I wouldn't have felt the need to do all these things. So it just, over the years, just started doing so many, and I didn't stop. So there's 25, 30, I don't know how many surgeries that are in the first part of the book, but I became knowledgeable. The second part of the book is all about the internal work that I had done. So I realized, wow, I've done all this external work and I'm still not happy. So then I went down this whole journey for all the internal work. And that's when I met the holistic doctor that I use. And I started really focusing on fitness and health and wellness, life coaching, all of those things. Really, it should be reversed. So when somebody's going to go down that path of procedures, you should do them for the right reasons and because you're doing them for you and not for somebody else. And I sort of did everything backwards.
When he asked you about the gym, were you married or dating?
No, we were dating.
Oh.
So a month into the relationship.
Oh gosh. And you know, the word narcissism and of course, and we don't know because we're not wired to think that we're wired to trust typically.
Yes.
And it's a thing. I mean, the number of people that are experiencing this in my life now is quite unbelievable. So with your procedures, you've had several. You said how many?
Many.
Many. Not
People
judging.
Magazine wrote an article about me and about my book, and I think they said 25, something like that. It's crazy. It's a lot.
Because your self-confidence was so low.
My self-confidence was low, but once I started, I wouldn't say it was an addiction, but you go down a rabbit hole. And I didn't stop. But I also wasn't happy. There are some that I really regret, but I was able to fix, and some that I'm very happy that I've done. And
Of course.
yeah.
Of course. I mean, and that's the thing. What I'm hearing from you is you're not against, because it does. Some people need enhancement, of course. I'm not sure you know my story, but I had an enhancement for the wrong reason, breast augmentation, and I was very, very sick. Very sick. I breast implant illness, but I'm not against anyone that wants to have breast implants at all, but that just didn't work for me. You know what I mean? So that's the message that I try to share with followers and listeners, that it doesn't always work for anyone, like you're saying.
I just think it's fine to do as many as you want, as long as you're doing them for the right reason. You're doing them for yourself. You're not doing them for a significant other. And you also look natural. And that's a fine line. You have to go to the right doctors, do your research, because for me, I would try to pick doctors that's their specialty. So if you want rhinoplasty, go to a rhinoplasty specialist. If you want a facelift, don't go to somebody that does tummy tucks. Go to somebody that just does facelifts, because they're doing so many per year as opposed to a quarter
Exactly.
of them if they're splitting the procedures.
Absolutely. And they know what they're doing. Absolutely. You know, that's what's frustrating to me, is the people that you walk in and they'll do anything. I mean, or the surgeons that will do anything. Now, maybe they're qualified. I'm not sure, but I highly doubt it. So you are living currently and have been for 10 years in Miami. So
Yes.
do you find that there's a lot of physicians that will do anything?
Yes. You have to be very careful. I think for me, the best surgeons are in New York in general. Miami has a few that I would definitely recommend, but overall, and I would say New York probably has the best, more conservative
Right.
doctors. Miami, they're not conservative. They're few. They're few. But in general, because people want to look like they've had work done.
Wow.
And for me, the key is do as much as you want, as long as you still look natural.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's so obvious. I mean, I don't understand it, because I came from the day and age where your ass looks better when it's smaller. I just do. I just think if my butt's smaller, it's a badge of honor for me. But when I see the huge glutes, it freaks me out.
It's definitely a look.
It is.
It's definitely a look.
And again, if you want to do it, that's great. But I'm just so shocked, I think. And I wonder if the people that are doing it, when you're staring at them, like, is they want to stare, or because it's not natural? I mean,
I think they want you to stare.
ugh, jeez. Let me ask you a question. I have done Botox not a long time, because I couldn't afford it at a stage of my life. But now if I do it, and I've tried it, everybody's like, well, have you tried Dysport? Have you tried, is it Xyreese? I can't remember. It starts with an X. and all the new ones. I've tried it all, and my body metabolism so much. I mean, so is that a thing?
It is a thing. I can't do Botox. Dysport works for me for a little bit, like for a couple months, but I work out a lot, so my body metabolizes it so quickly.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just a waste of money. I mean, I no kidding, probably get, and I've had my doctor on here before, probably get, I'd say 3 weeks. It's unbelievable. I mean,
that's
but why would I carry on?
that's
So
quick.
you know what's next for me, right?
Facelift. Yeah.
Have you had a facelift?
2.
2. Okay. Oh wow.
The second one I haven't posted yet. I'll explain. The first one, I went to Dr. Giacono. He's in New York City. Amazing. I went to him before he was famous, so I didn't pay a large amount of money. I think my facelift with him was $34,000. I went when I was 47, so 8 years ago.
Okay.
With facelifts, and even though he did an amazing job, they don't last. So for people that think, okay, I'm going to get this facelift, it's going to last the next 10 to 15 years, part of the facelift will, but you're going to start, because of gravity, you're going to start sagging again. Recently, I did a second facelift, which I haven't posted yet. I'm actually going to post the procedure. The doctor is amazing. He does a different technique where he will cut the skin. He went in through my same incisions and he lifted the muscle with surgical threads, not PDO threads, but actual surgical threads. Before I did that procedure with him, I did go back down the filler and PDO thread trap that I talked about in the book, where, because my facelift didn't last. So it lasted maybe 5 years.
Really?
But I started sagging again. And so started doing filler again, started not in a natural way, but I was doing a little bit here to the lift and the PDO threads. Well, when this surgeon did my facelift, again, he saw a lot of the threads and scar tissue from the first one. So he removed, and he saw particles of the threads that had snapped. The problem with the PDO threads, they're good for a minute, but they do break. So then you can look uneven because, one may snap on this side and not the other side. So I was going down that trap again. My trainer did her facelift with this surgeon. He does not use anesthesia. So I was awake. He just numbed. It was amazing. There was no recovery. The next day I went to the Miami Open. So I just did that a couple months ago.
No way. Okay, I've got to talk to you
I'm
about
going to
that.
put it on the whole thing on Instagram, the procedure, showing exactly what he did and how he did it. I haven't found another doctor. This doctor's Colombian. I have not found somebody in the US that does this procedure. It was $4,500, which is,
What?
that's it.
Is it a non-invasive type
It's invasive because he's cutting. So he's still
Yeah.
cut. So you can see
Yeah.
he went in through my original incisions and he's still cutting. So he cut a few centimeters and lifted inside the muscle with the surgical threads, which I'm going to have to repeat this in 3 to 5 years, which I'm okay with because they don't last anyway. So for me, it was like, okay, I'll do this again and again and again. I actually didn't want to go through anesthesia again because
Okay.
I've done so much and it definitely affects my lymphatic system. I get puffy. I do a lot of lymphatic work. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I was awake 2 hours for each side.
Unbelievable.
And then I went back a month later to do a lip lift. The lip he cut under and lifted my lip 3 millimeters.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So
I think I'm in
facelifts.
shock because this makes perfect sense. Facelifts don't last forever.
No.
No. Okay. So I went let me tell you a little.
Okay.
I went into my doctor that I trust and love when I was 58. So I said, okay, facelift consult. He goes, you don't need a facelift. And I'm like, what? I mean, for a plastic surgeon to say that, I was so shocked. Anyway, he goes, I don't think you're ready. And I was 58. So he said, but I want you to try Ellacor. Have you done Ellacor?
Is it a laser?
No, it's coring. It's like a sewing machine going in your face and it removes, I think, gosh, 80, 90,000, I'm making that number up, cores from it. And then when it heals, it shrinks. So I
haven't
did
heard of
2 rounds of
that. Okay.
that, and I'll probably do another one, but it's on my Instagram. It's on one I've pinned. Oh my gosh, I think we have 5.3 million views now. It's crazy.
Wow.
So much that Ellacor reached out, and I'm their
That's
person.
amazing.
Yeah, their campaign person. But anyway, but that for finding a doctor that is honest with you is rarity,
It
and I'm
is rare.
sure in Miami. But how do you do this? Everybody's getting a facelift. I have a friend that's in her 30s getting a facelift. She doesn't need a flipping facelift, but it's what she wanted to do. How do you know when to say I'm doing this for me, or I'm doing it because it's trending and popular?
That's a fine line because of social media. People all day long are going down this rabbit hole. Younger girls are going into the surgeon's office, showing them AI basically or filtered photos. I want to
Yes.
look like this. So it's really difficult because you're seeing it all day long. And, you know, you and I are in the same a decade probably apart
Right.
when we were born. So we didn't grow up with this. We didn't see social media until, you know, like in the 2000s,
Correct.
basically. So we didn't grow up, but for people now that have grown up with social media and they're constantly on it, younger girls, they're seeing perfect filters and they want to look like that.
Right. Right. And they
So
do. Yeah.
it's difficult.
Yeah,
It's,
it is, and it's a voice. It's a voice, but you know, and the more you mature, instead of saying the older you get, you do think about anesthesia. You do think about those
Yes.
things and the things that can go wrong, and that's what's frightening.
I think about that constantly. That's why I was awake for this.
I cannot believe you were awake.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm going down this journey again. I'm going to get another facelift and I'm doing it a little different this time. And I thought about it.
Right.
And I don't want to go through the anesthesia again. I don't even want to do Twilight unless I had to. So for me, it was great because he did both procedures. He did the lip lift. He just numbed me. And that was it. And it was amazing.
So a couple of years ago, I had my eyes, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to be awake." I went, "No, no, 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 we're not." He goes, "No, I don't like to do that. It's too expensive, and I don't want you to, more anesthesia." And he goes, "You won't even hear a thing. You'll take a little something." And so during the procedure, I mean, I'm like, I want the Bee Gees to play. I want to hear that on the playlist. And he was talking to his nurse, and he said, "Wow, she's got a lot of fat in her right eye, on her right eyelid." And I'm like, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I'm fat.
So he did an upper bluff?
He did
Okay.
never bled. Yeah. So, and again, one of those things, I didn't know I needed it until after on social media, we did before and after, like the
Yeah, and then
swiping.
you see it.
I was like, did anyone want to tell me I look like shit? I mean, seriously. You know what I mean? It was making such a huge difference.
It does. It probably just really opened your
Oh,
eyes.
I looked a little more bright. So, is there a procedure that you regret?
Yes.
Oh, do tell.
Multiples.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
The first one was a doctor in New York City. His name is Jan Trokel, and he has this procedure called a Y lift. My mom at the time had talked me out. I was going to get a facelift at that point. I think it was like 43, 44. She talked me out of it. She's like, please don't do it. So I'm at the gym and this guy pops up on Good Morning America and he's doing the Y lift on TV. And it was at that point a lot of filler that they use with a cannula, and he's sculpting the face with the filler, but it was a lot. He uses, I don't even know how many vials. So I thought, okay, he's the guy. I'm going to New York. So I made an appointment, went to New York, did the procedure. It turned out fine. 2 years later, I needed it repeated because it didn't last because it's just filler. But the way he sculpted was good. It lifted it. He did a good job. The second time I did it, he decided to pie face me because he thought, oh, that look is trending now, where the round face look. He put so much filler in my face and turned it into a round pie instead of sculpting and lifting. It was horrifying. It took a year for me to get the filler out because he put so much in.
Oh my
And
gosh.
to have filler removed is very painful. It stings. Took me a year to get it out. So at this point, now that I was a pie, my face is sagging even more. And at that point, I was like, I'm getting the facelift. And that's when it took me a few years to find Dr. Tricono after looking many, many surgeons, their before and afters. His work is fabulous, amazing. And so he was the right person for me. I went to him, everything was fine. I had great results, but again, doesn't last. Part of it lasted, but overall, like my jowls were still good, but I still just recently when I did the facelift, a mid, lower and mid, my lower was fine. It wasn't as bad. It was more my mid that was sagging.
Sandra, are fillers kind of going by the wayside? I mean, because people are, we did go through a phase of overfilled, right?
Honestly, I really don't like them, and I'll tell you why. I recently had done, before I did the lip lift, my lips, the filler migrated so much to here. So now I have filler all in this area.
Wow.
That it had migrated. I don't like the fillers at this point. That's why I did the second facelift, because now I have nothing in my face. It's 100% natural. I don't have a thread. I don't have the filler, the PDO threads. Like he used surgical threads to lift the muscle. And for my lips, he did the lip lift, which lifted, and I just added a little bit of hyaluronic acid just to, make them a little
Right.
bit more nourished looking.
Right, right. Because as we age, they flatten out.
They do.
They do. And there's not enough lip plump that'll get it done.
Nope.
They're just not.
But I love the lip lift. I love that procedure because he did it very naturally. So I only lifted 3 millimeters.
Yeah. So for the women listening to the show today that are aging gracefully and they're not fighting perfection, what do you say about that? Because that's just, everyone gets to think what they want to think and do what they right.
I think that's fine. Whatever works for you is perfect. For me, I like to do these procedures. I'm doing them now for the right reasons. I'm doing them. I love myself. So I'm doing them because I want to, not because someone's telling me that I'm fat or that I need to go to the gym or that, whatever. Oh, my legs look like baseball bats. I mean, I've heard it all.
Oh my gosh. Next week we're going to do this. We're talking with Sandra again about relationships. We're going to talk about that, but today we're focusing on beauty for sure. When I did the Ellacor and I remember my team saying, okay, let's go ahead and push this out there. And it's brutal looking, as you know. And they called my face hamburger meat at the time. So we did it. And I remember him calling me and said, we're going to post it today. And I'm like, I'm just not ready. I wasn't feeling confident about myself at that minute. I was in Dallas working that day. And I'm so happy we did it because the transparency, and people are like, you actually showed that? I'm like, well, yeah, I was feeling weird that day, but you and I are made up. We are in makeup. We have hair done today. This is not our daily life. And I'm determined to share it with people. That is Instagram. That's what they see on Instagram. Yes. It's not every single day. And I thought, you know what? People that are thinking about doing this is what happens, And again, I haven't had a ton of things done. There's some things I want to do. But I think it's really important to share. And I love that. When Sandra walked in today, I said, okay, can I talk about this? And she goes, hey, talk about anything. And I love that because there's people that don't, right?
Oh, so many. There are people that I know for a fact they've had facelifts and they
just don't want to talk about it.
No, they won't ever talk about it.
Yeah.
I had close friends. I wanted to include their story in my book and they wouldn't, even anonymously.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. With Ellacor, we did the campaign in New York, and they had someone in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and the woman is my dear friend, in her 70s, and she's like, "Yeah, I had a facelift, and I needed Ellacor after, and I might get another one, but this is what I'm doing, and I'm actually going to do my arms too." And just to have that energy in her mid 70s is so refreshing.
How long had it been since she did the facelift? Before she started
I don't know. Probably about 5 or 6 years.
That's what I was saying.
Which makes sense.
You need something. So if you are going to get a facelift, the Ellacor sounds like a good alternative in between facelifts because, like I said, they don't last, but you need something. After 5 years, you are going to sag.
Yeah. I was amazed. I mean, he's like this, when I went to the consult, he was like, let's try it. He said, if, and see what you think. And I'm like, okay. I was like, oh my gosh, the before and afters were just amazing. And I'm going to do another one before I really dive in there. But anyway, it's just, and again, everyone's.
How long does it last?
Well, just like, I did mine last year. No, in 2024. And, it's just, things start drooping. So it's right around here. Really want to just go to town right right in this area because I'm not doing fillers anymore at all. No,
Yeah, I don't blame
no.
you.
Plus, I am a baby. The thought of you laying awake in that surgery,
I know.
girl, you are a badass. I mean, you're just killing me here. So, why do you think there are the people that will listen to this show and think that we're just crazy?
It happens all the time. When the article came out about my procedures in People magazine, Daily Mail picked it up after that. And I got the worst comments from people and from Daily Mail to the point where they were saying, you're such a bad influence for your daughter. And I get it. I understand. Like, my daughter hasn't done anything and she probably won't. But they're cruel. People.
Yeah. Oh, yes. People behind especially a keyboard is tough.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's tough. But I say this about everything in life. You have a choice. Sometimes we don't have a choice, but you have a choice and everyone gets to do what they want to do. I mean, I'm just like, why can't we all just embrace that,
And be supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. So you said a minute ago, you love yourself now.
Yes.
When did you start loving Sandra?
Probably 2023.
Okay. Wow.
So 2023 was my third separation. And I started working with a life coach, and he was great. And he just made me realize, like, look, you have to get the toxic out of your life. And that's once I started that, a lot of it was like toxic friends. Yes, I had the toxic relationship. My ex and I did get back together for another year after that separation. And I wasn't happy that year that we were back together. Like, I knew it was going to end again. It wasn't right. Once I really eliminated that toxic friendships, I really started to connect better with myself and feel more calm,
Right.
less anxious.
Yeah, because it's a time I remember. I had a podcast guest. Oh gosh, this podcast I've had it 6.5 years. 4 years ago, I had this woman. She bought a life coach or a counselor, whatever, and she said, "Do you love yourself?" And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She said, "I want you to write 50 things that you love about yourself." I'm sure you've done this, and I had a very difficult time doing it, and that was earlier. But my point to this entire conversation is, when do you feel like when you get into your mature age later in life that you have more confidence?
Yes.
How is that? Tell me how that is.
All of these, like, you obviously go through different phases in your life. And I feel like as we get older, we become more wise and more aware of what our surroundings and what's going on. And I feel like for me, it just gave me more confidence to actually eliminate the things that don't work for me. Before, I felt like I was more of a people pleaser, and now I don't want to please people just to people please.
Right.
You know, I want to do things because I wanted to do them. But in the past, I definitely would do things more to please others. And I don't want to do that anymore.
I'm tired, and it's true, and what do you think society it's a myth about what over women over 50? What has society done to
that
us?
your life is over, that you're past where you're like sort of like middle age, but you're going downhill after that, like all these different things. And I started a whole new life after 50, a whole new career, everything. I have a boyfriend, like everything changed after 50. And a lot of people think that they can't do it, or, they'll wake up one day and look in the mirror and they don't realize, like, how do I look like this? What happened? But you can make these changes. And I talk about that in the book. I talk about things that you can do slowly to start.
Exactly.
Non-invasive enhancements.
Of course. Absolutely. I remember growing up, I just remember thinking, oh, well, now let's be clear. My grandmother at 50 didn't look like we look at 50. You know what I mean? Like at all. Like things have changed so much. Obviously, we can do procedures, but and take care and skincare and stay out of the sun and you know what I mean? Do the right things. But I remember thinking, once you have your kids and they're gone, you're put out to pasture. I just remembered that thought process with different people. And I started this platform, gosh, okay, so in 2018 and in my 50s. And I had the confidence to do it. Somebody said, hey, start a podcast. COVID came along. We had to pivot, totally pivot our whole careers. And we did it. And I know to work our brain and continue what we're doing and continue to be where we are, we have to continue doing something and have a
Yes, I agree.
purpose. You know, have a purpose. And that's what you're doing. And that's what I'm doing, you know? And life slaps us in the face, you know?
There's so many people that don't have to work, or they have the financial,
Sure.
ability to stay home. But I feel like for me, that life's boring.
Oh, yes.
Ladies that lunch,
I know.
all those different things. Like, I can't do that.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. I've done things like that in the past when I was raising my kids. I wasn't happy.
Right.
I like to work.
Yeah. Is this your favorite season of life?
Yes.
Yeah. Mine too. Yeah. It's not to say that things aren't always fabulous, but yeah, season of life, because what would you say, Sandra, to the 27-year-old girl that was told to go to the gym? What would you say to her?
Run.
Run.
Run away from this guy, because once they cross boundaries like that, it never gets better. Once somebody's disrespectful to you and you allow it, it never gets better.
Right. Right. I was married and a couple of times before. And the man that I was married to was the same type. I didn't stay. And I remember him, we were going through fast food or something, and the light shining on my face he looks and says, what would you like to order? And he looked at me and he goes, you're kind of pretty. I was like, kinda? I mean, that just...
He was your husband?
Yes. It slapped me in the face. I was like, what? And then it just went downhill. You know what I mean? But I got out of there. But yeah, it's a thing. And I try to coach women constantly to move on from that relationship. But some people don't love themselves.
Exactly.
You know?
Had I loved myself, I never would have lasted as long as I did in that marriage.
Right. Do you really teach your children? Your children are out of the house now. Do you teach them to love themselves?
100%. My kids are great. They both have a lot of confidence. They both love themselves. My daughter would never tolerate what I tolerated.
Wow.
And I'm happy for that.
Right.
I'm happy that she would never put up with what I
Is this her dad?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. So she knows.
She knows.
Definitely knows.
She knows.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us how we can find your book and you.
My book is on Amazon. I have a website, Sandra Silverman. I'm on Instagram, Sandra Silverman, and the book is Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The book is called From Bullshit to Botox, and I also have a podcast called Party's Over.
That's great. And next week we are talking about relationships, because we're going to talk about your other book, which is
From Bullshit to Broken Hearts.
So we talked about it a little bit today, but we're going to talk about it next week. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, from Miami and coming over to Texas. I hope you like it over here.
Thank you. I love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And everyone, life isn't always perfect. It's just not. But you know what? You can push and you can thrive. And I tell you every single Tuesday, keep being fabulous.